Hey, what's up y'all? Welcome back to West Seattle. It's Ben back, and this time taking a look at the new Harsh Reality Pearl from 900 Global. This is the sequel to the original solid Harsh Reality, so same 902 Reserve Blend cover stock. Except now, this time, there is some Pearl additive thrown into the mix, so excited to see what we got. But first, why don't we take a look at what's going on out on the lanes. So out there today, we have our West Seattle test pattern meant for heavy oil, stronger balls. It's a bit longer, a bit more, 44 feet, 27 mils of oil. And this is the DNA coil, my current favorite strong, shiny ASIM. Pretty good, Larry David. So first, careful observers might notice that there is no sweep coming down on our racks in this video. And in the last video, we are currently doing a major software update for our server. So it means that I will be manually double cycling all of these. So pardon my out of breathness. But yeah, so DNA coil, that's been my pick for what's most often in my bag when I need some stronger stuff that can kind of still scoot through the front part of the lane. What I like about it compared to maybe some other strong, shiny options is that it's a little more rounded in its overall shape. It gets into a spin pretty early, and that kind of helps with that. And when you're on heavy oil or longer oil, you don't want something hockey sticking on you because it loses its legs out from under it. Let's throw one more just to kind of make sure we know what we got going on in here. Let's move two left. Okay, there is one of our West Seattle mixers. Not an uncommon leave when you have long oil, heavier oil. Let's get into the Harsh Reality Pearl now. So, like I said, 902 Reserve Blend Pearl cover stock. The original Harsh Reality, which we'll see in a sec, is pretty dang strong, but in a really good way. Really love that ball. So, what's the real difference though between the two other than that? Oftentimes it can make a ball hook more energy retentive, things like that. We'll talk about the numbers and all that kind of stuff in a sec. Let's stand in the same spot as that last DNA coil. Okay, kind of felt like that was a little slow, but already I can kind of see, especially with that vivid combination of orange and black swirls, looks a bit stronger than the DNA coil. The front part of the lane, the middle, and the back. But yeah, so how strong is super strong? 248.056, massive flare potential there. 019 intermediate diff, so fairly asymmetric. Stay in the same spot, let's get our speed up. Looked a lot better. Keeping it a little closer to the pocket, as this is a longer pattern. I like it. It does remind me of the solid, shape-wise. It's just kind of pushed down the lane, as one would expect. So, could this be the ultimate lateral move or step down from the Harsh solid? We'll find out. Let's throw a couple more though with the Pearl. So yeah, this directly compared to the DNA coil, the numbers are a bit different. DNA coil has 247.053.023. And so that means it gets into a spin a little quicker. It's got a little bit less flare, and it'll stand up a little prouder. So smoother and a little more forward. I think that's what kind of gives that controllability that I like a lot with the DNA coil. Let's move two left off our last Harsh Pearl shot. Yeah, that is no problem meandering in the oil. I think it might be time to test what happens when it hits some friction. So while this is a longer pattern and a heavier pattern, and then say your typical house shot, there is still friction. And when you mix pearl cover stock with friction, oftentimes you'll get a fair bit of movement. So get it right and see what it can do. Okay, touched the friction there, and still look pretty great. So let's throw one more, and we'll get the break point even more right. Let's really get into that friction. Let's get this launch angle pretty steep. Okay, so this is fresh oil, longer and heavier. That was a pretty steep launch angle that Harsh Reality had no problem reading the middle of the lane to get that second to third phase setup. Skid, hook, roll. So hook to roll, getting ready to go. This looks great. Okay, so let's take a break from the new for a sec, and let's go to another super popular shiny top shelf ASIM, Rotogrips Attention Star. Now, compared to the other two balls we've seen so far, the Attention Star's core numbers are different and a fair bit weaker, because now we have 248, 049, 017. So it still gets into an early spin just like the DNA coil does, except the flare potential is a bit less, and the asymmetry, the intermediate differential, so kind of that tip over spot at the back, just how unstable it is, it's not as much. Let's move away from that deep shot for a sec. Let's go back to where we were kind of starting with the coil and the harsh pearl. Yeah, you know, to me, as I've used these over the last few months, the Attention Star seems to roll forward at the end pretty straight. So when I'm looking to trap the pocket, kind of keep that a little more in front of me, that's a great option. So it's actually a little sharper, not as round as the DNA coil. Knowing that, as I start to move left, the Attention Star may not look the best from here, but let's find out. Yeah, and so you can kind of see there, gets into a spin nice. It has less flare than the coil or the harsh pearl are gonna have. And that asymmetry is tipping up strong. Overall, the full package is rolling pretty forward. And so the shape looked great. That's just not the angle or the spot that I should be playing from with this ball. Sometimes I even feel like the Attention Star in my bag is a step down from some of these other ones. But I think where I see other people that aren't me, that throw it differently than I do, use that ball, they use it in similar spots I might be using these others. So I just thought I would show you what the Attention Star looks like for me from the same spot. And you can probably see just from those two shots already that, yeah, it is a bit of a step down. Not much of a step down, but just a bit of a step down. Let's throw one more on a more optimal line. For me, the way I throw it, using this ball on this pattern, I'm gonna move back right again. Okay, looked okay shape-wise again. Just not maybe time for me to be using the Attention Star. Yeah, so again, it looks good. It just may be a little early for someone like me with my style on this type of a lane, with that type of a ball, to be throwing it the more I'm throwing it. Ring 10s are usually a pretty good indicator of things like that. Just vocally, if you're curious, the layout for all four of these balls is gonna be the exact same. And that's essentially my standard big ball layout. It's a 60 by 5.5 by 60. So for me, that actually puts the pin right in the middle finger. And that's been a layout that I've been enjoying for quite a while, so works for me. let's take a look at the big brother to the Harsh Pearl, the Harsh Solid. So, Harsh Solid, same overall DNA as the Harsh Pearl, except there's no pearl additive. So this should be reading earlier, have an overall smoother shape. Let's throw it from our last successful Harsh Pearl shot, which was actually pretty far deep. So let's try that. See, that looks great right now. That's probably where and what I'd be using right now. This is pretty fresh, and Solid is meant for the fresh. You could see, I think, just in that shot, kind of what I was talking about. It's not as angular down lane as the Harsh Pearl is, but it's still the overall idea. So, same DNA, just a little earlier, smoother. Try to keep that one in the oil a bit more. So same spot on the approach, sliding at about 39 or so. And yeah, Harsh Solid has no problem with oil. Really one of the better options that are out there. It's got some heavy hitter company, but that Reality Core has just been so good and proven over the years on a variety of lane conditions for a variety of people, that it instills a bit of confidence, I think, when you're searching through your bag for an option. Let's move 6 right, increase the speed, and see what kind of versatility we have going on. Perfect, right? Really good. So the Harsh Solid, versatile, capable on the heavy stuff, and approachable from a wide variety of angles and bowling styles. Let's just throw one more with the Harsh Solid, and then we'll jump back into the Harsh Pearl, star of the show, and we'll see what other things we can find out about it. Keep it tight, keep it in the oil. You're not gonna leave those lower 7s. The 8 gets knocked out good. Okay, so let's get back into the Harsh Pearl on at least what used to be its optimal line at the start of this video. Might have changed since. And then we'll move left, and then we'll move right, and then we'll chat. So right now I'm sliding at about 36. Okay, so you can kind of see there, I think, that some of the oil is starting to dissipate, or rather be absorbed into these balls. So let's move just one and one. Whew, the ball is strong, pretty strong. So, well, let's take our big step left. So that will have us sliding at about 40, maybe 41. Harsh Pearl, you're a beast. All right, so there's one from 40 in the oil. Again, even though it's shiny, even though it's pearl, it has no problem handling that oil. But let's go one more with it from there, and again, like earlier, we'll get our break point just a little further right. See if we can't coast to coast this action. Maybe not as far right as I had talked it up, but definitely more right than the shot before. and that almost stone nined. So you've heard me in a bunch of videos talk about covers as tires for your car. And in that analogy, the Harsh Solid, that's winter tires with snow chains. Harsh Pearl, this is more like, it's got the Ferrari engine inside, so massive horsepower there, but summer tires on the outside, so it can corner with a lot more agility, kind of dive through those pins. So what is that saying about who this is for? Is it for you? Is it for me? Well, if you are someone who bowls at a place that has a higher concentration of oil, or you are in a league or at a tournament that has an oil pattern with a higher concentration of oil, that's for you. This does great there. Because inevitably, when you start in those types of situations, look around you. It might even be yourself. There's gonna be a lot of sanded, strong bowling balls. It's not always the best option for everybody, but that's the common instinct and reflex for when people see a lot of skid. And so with all that sanding and strong burning up the front part of the lane early, having something that has shiny and pearl in it, let's go the shot from that same optimal line from earlier. It gets it through some of that burn, but still has the Ferrari engine and the cornering agility to give you confidence. Okay, wasn't my best shot, but ball looks good. It is, as one would expect, the same shape as the Harsh Solid. It's just down lane a bit more and a little stronger through the pins angle-wise. So again, a familiar, tried and tested and proven method to have a complement to another ball. I think the Pearl and the Solid go well together. Let's remind ourselves where the DNA coil is sitting in all this mix. Again, this core gets into a spin pretty quick, has a lot of flare potential. It's a big core. Let's throw from the same line as that 40 board Harsh Pearl shot. Whew, you dirty dog. Norm Macdonald all over that stone nine. So again, that one for a bit now has been my favorite of the big shiny pearl options. I like that it's rounded, but I like that in being rounded, it ain't no slouch. Could probably handle that on a different volume or length of oil, but right now, that isn't the ball I'd be using, honestly. I think the Harsh Pearl could probably handle for me in the gutter. Let's find out. So, Harsh Pearl, let's go to 46. In the gutter, left shoulder, starting to get all kinds of familiar with lane 22. And let's see what kind of circling this boy's got. I kind of like that, and let's cut back to the pin deck here, that the sweeps aren't working today for us. I just want that pin deck to sit in the afterglow of realizing what just happened to it. That just murdered all 10 pins from no man's land on heavier and longer. So Harsh Pearl, wow, there's a lot of power in that. So if you need that in that way, there's your best option. All right, so as we come to a close, Harsh Pearl, it's probably a bit difficult to have consecutive shots quick for you to see, given that we have to manually put the pins on the deck today. But through the magic of video editing, I guess, let's give it a go. So here's some back back to back to back. All right, so Harsh Pearl, good stuff. If you need a complement to your big ball, your Harsh Reality, your original Reality, your whatever it is, your big Sandblaster snow tires with chains ball, but you don't want to go all the way down to the middle and bottom of your bag, Harsh Pearl's got you covered. Ferrari engine with summer tires does exactly what you need when everyone else's surface around you burns up that front, but all the oil down lane is still getting you down. Rolls pretty good. And so with that, that's all I got for you on this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.